Hello, hello, good morning, bendiga, blessings, love you, Baruch. Hey, look, let's get it on, let's get it in. I'm reading Esther. Told you that I was in a prayer service the other day, and I was on my knees praying, and one of the pastors that was uh, leading or assisting part of the prayer, he was giving just a quick message on Esther, and I realized, I'm like, hey, man, I haven't read Esther in eons, and I really didn't get anything great out of it other than, she did something wonderful, man, based on, and maybe that's all there is to get out of Esther. I don't know. But I thought to myself, I was on my knees, hey, I need to revisit that. So without any further ado, I'm on Esther chapter 3. It's a short book, short chapter, short. So maybe, I don't know. If you get something out of Esther, man, share. Put some script, put some notes at the bottom. What did he reveal to you? Special message you got out of it. Like and share. You don't have to like, share. So, at any rate, man, like my glass is not working today. I don't understand what's happening. I'm not going to preach. I'm just going to read. Chapter 3, Haman plots against the Jews. After these things, King Ahasuerus promoted Haman, the Agagite and son of Hammedatha, and advanced him and set his throne above all the officials who were with him. And all the king's servants who were at the king's gate bowed down and paid homage to Haman, for the king had such commanded concerning him. But Mordecai did not bow down nor pay homage. Then the king's servants who were at the king's gate said to Mordecai, why do you transgress the king's command? And when they spoke to him day after day and he would not listen to them, they told Haman, in order to see whether Mordecai's words would stand. For he had told them that he was a Jew. And when Haman saw that Mordecai did not bow down nor pay homage to him, Haman was filled with fury. Told him he was a Jew. So what are they saying, man? He was saying that he can only bow down to God. So was he not bowing down to the king? I mean, there's a lot that I'm not getting in that exchange right there. But you see one thing, people snitched on him, and people wanted to set him up and see what happened and who said and what's going to do. That's what people do to you. Don't do stuff to satisfy and please or impress people. People will skewer you. That's what they did to Jesus. Beat him, spat on him, betrayed him, did it all. Just serve God, man. Serve God because it's in your heart and you know it's the right thing to do. What people do, the reward they give. Verse 5, and when Haman saw that Mordecai did not bow down or pay homage, Haman was filled with fury. But he disdained to lay hands on Mordecai alone. So, as they had made known to him the people of Mordecai, Haman sought to destroy all the Jews, the people of Mordecai, throughout the whole kingdom of Ahasuerus. Verse 7, in the first month, which is the month of Nisan, so they're not using the Gregorian calendar, in the 12th year of King Ahasuerus, they cast pure, that is, they cast lots, before Haman day after day. They cast it month after month till the 12th month, which is the month of Adar. And Haman said to King Ahasuerus, there's a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the peoples in all the provinces of your kingdom. Their laws are different from these of every other people, and they do not keep the king's laws, so that it is not the king's profit to tolerate them. And if it please the king, let it be decreed that they be destroyed, and I will pay 10,000 talents of silver into the hands of those who have charge of the king's business, that they may put it into the king's treasuries. So the king took his signet ring So the king took his signet ring from his hand and gave it to Haman, the Agagite, the son of Hammedatha, the enemy of the Jews. And the king said to Haman, the money is given to you, the people also to do with them as it seems good to you. Verse 12. Then the king's scribes were summoned on the 13th day of the first month, and an edict, according to all that Haman commanded, was written into the king's satraps, and to the governors of all the provinces, and to the officials of all the peoples. For every province in its own script, and every people in its own language, it was written in the name of King Ahasuerus, and sealed with the king's signet ring. Letters were sent by couriers to all the king's provinces with instructions to destroy, to kill, and to annihilate all Jews, young and old, women and children. In one day, the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the day of Adar, and to plunder their goods. That has become a historical repeated event. Plunder their goods. Always plunder their goods. It's the heart of men, boy. Verse 14, a copy of the document was to be issued as a decree in every province by proclamation to all the peoples to be ready for that day. The couriers went out hurriedly by the order of the king, and the decree was issued in Susa, the citadel. And the king and Haman sat down to drink, but the city of Susa was thrown into confusion. Let's read, knock out chapter 4 right quick. We're only 6.5 minutes in. We're good. Let's talk about Esther agreeing to help the Jews. Chapter 4, verse 1. When Mordecai learned all that had been done, Mordecai tore his clothes and put on sackcloth and ashes and went out into the city, in the midst of the city. And he cried out with a loud and a bitter cry. He went up to the entrance of the king's gate, for no one was allowed to enter the king's gate clothed in sackcloth. And in every province, wherever the king commanded and his decree reached, there was a great mourning among the Jews with fasting. With fasting. Remember that fasting, boy. And weeping and lamenting. And many of them lay in sackcloth and ashes. When Esther's young women and her eunuchs came and told her the queen was deeply distressed, she sent garments to clothe Mordecai so that he might take off his sackcloth, but he would not accept them. The king, then Esther called for Hathach, one of the king's eunuchs, who had been appointed to attend her, and ordered him to go to Mordecai to learn what this was and why it was. Hathach went out to Mordecai in the open square of the city in front of the king's gate, and Mordecai told him all that had happened to him, and the exact sum of money that Haman had promised to pay into the king's treasures for the destruction of the Jews. Mordecai also gave him a copy of the written decree issued in Susa for their destruction, that he might show it to Esther and explain it to her, and command her to go to the king to beg his favor and plead with him on behalf of her people. And Hathach went and told Esther what Mordecai had said. Then Esther spoke to Hathach and commanded him to go to Mordecai and say, all the king's servants and all the people of the king's provinces know that if any man or woman goes to the king inside the inner circle without being called, there is but one law, to be put to death, except the one to whom the king holds out the golden scepter so that he may live. But as for me, I have not been called to come into the king these 30 days. King say 30 days without his queen. Call her when it's convenient. Chapter 4, verse 12. And they told Mordecai that Esther had what Esther had said. Then Mordecai told them to reply to Esther, do not think to yourself that in the king's palace you will escape any more than in all other Jews. For if you keep silent at this time, relief and deliverance will rise for the Jews from another place, but you and your father's house will perish. And who knows whether you have not come to the kingdom for such a time as this. That's a key phrase. It says, and who knows whether you have not come to the kingdom for such a time as this. I was having a discussion with another pastor friend of mine. I don't attend his church or anything like that. But he's really excited about these Jacksonville politics that's going on, and he was really excited, not a good excitement about, um, a lot of these so-called evangelistic Christians being flipped head over heels for, some politician. In this case, most of this case is Trump, and he he just wanted to start to prepare for the worst. And I told him, I said, man, sometimes we're sent in certain places, man, so we can be an agent of change through Christ and with Christ, not through violence and through tools of man. Fighting fire without fire only produce fire. So here Mordecai says to Esther, and who knows whether you have not come to the kingdom for such a time as this, to be that change agent through peace and blessings in Christ's favor. Then Esther told them to reply to Mordecai, go gather all the Jews to be found in Susa and hold a fast on my behalf. Back to fasting. How many of us are keeping fasting in our prayer life, our spiritual life? And do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day. I and my young women will also fast as you do. Then I will go to the king, though it is against the law, and if I perish, I perish. Mordecai then went away and did everything as Esther had ordered him. It's all right. I mean, I could read another chapter, man. We're only 11 minutes in. And guess what? I got a little message already. But we're going to save a little bit. Start on through chapter 5 tomorrow. Hey, look, I love you. Bless you. Seek only God's kingdom. Look, don't get caught up in all these stuff of man, news from man, news of man, his power systems, his governance. Man cannot, he's proven he cannot govern. Man cannot govern man rightfully and justly. Man cheats, lies, steals, corrupts. Hey, man, ain't no such thing as Supreme Court. Why? It's only God's court is the Supreme Court. Man is corruptible. Look at Clarence Thomas. Look at Justice, what's his name's wife, getting multi-millions of dollars. These people getting rich. Everybody getting rich off governance. Man can't govern himself. He cheats, lies, he steals, he subjects, he enslaves, subjugates. He's corrupted. All we got is Christ, Yeshua, Jesus, and Father God, Yahweh, Jehovah. That's all we got. Man better turn to him. Spend time in prayer. Spend time meditating on his word. Fast. And do some praising and worship and just lifting him up in your heart. Bless you. Love you. Bye-bye.